G'day guys, welcome to Ask Woodford, episode 61. I have a very special guest as always. He's my friend, he's from America, his name is Adam Gotsis. He is a, what would you call it, Adam? Give me a free agent, correct?
Yeah, current free agent.
A free agent and used to play for the Denver Broncos in the NFL. Welcome, Adam, to Ask Woodford.
How you doing, mate? How you doing, Christian?
Very good, very good. So thank you for coming on the show. Now, quickly, just for people who don't know who you are, and personally for me, I've seen your career develop. You're being the highest pick ever in the draft for an Australian, and I might be wrong about that, but I think I'm right. Highest pick ever. You don't get the publicity that you should get. It's frustrating for me because I've seen how much work you put in. I know you're such a great person. I've seen what you always try and do, come back to Australia and help out, with your clothing range, stuff like that. Just talk about a little bit about who you are.
Yeah. So, grew up in Australia, typical Aussie life and stuff. And then, blessed to be in the position where, I was drafted as the highest Australian, current drafted. Hopefully a couple of guys following that footsteps and, can get there. But, yeah, man, that's all who I'm about. I'm about, giving back to where I'm from. And, I love the country that I'm from. And, we've been through some tough times recently. And, I'm fortunate that I'm in a position where I can use my platform and use my brand and, my image to, raise some awareness for, hardships around the world and hardships back home in Australia. So, every time I come back, there's a couple of organizations that I'm involved with. Around the Campfire is one of them. They deal with a lot of injustices with Aboriginals and stuff, and currently in the world, that's something that we're seeing now. So, I'm proud to be part of that and be part of that for the last couple of years. And recently we went through the bushfires, so I kind of had the t-shirts and everything, and I was so wrapped that I could raise that amount of money for
How much money did you raise?
Yeah, ended up raising $25K. So we had a bunch of help from around the league. A ton of dudes donating gear and jerseys and stuff like that. And we auctioned it all off, and all the proceeds went to a couple of organizations back home. But that's what it's about. I think we're in a world now where social media and stuff's so powerful that if you can use your brand and your image to help causes and crises around the world, you should. So that's just how I feel about it. And that's kind of, I think, reflects a bit of who I am and kind of how I was raised and brought up. And I think I've had an interesting story and interacted with a lot of people, but I'm happy with where I'm at right now, and just looking forward to my current situation. Hopefully land on the team coming up in the next few months.
So we're gonna go talk about your clothing company later on.
Yeah.
What I know is, how did you get involved in the game of gridiron? Now, for everyone back in America, or here we call it gridiron, American football. Let's talk about, it's not a normal upbringing, but saying that though, I found out through my channels that you played football with Andrew Gaff. Was it Gaff?
Yep. Yeah, Andrew Gaff with the Eagles. So it's pretty funny. Me and him, we played same, junior footy club growing up, and I think it was like under 10s. Me and him, out of the two teams, he was best and fairest of one of the teams. I was best and fairest of the other team. So me and him kind of had a little bit of a rivalry, but it was like, we both, I knew he was a stud from, junior footy, that he was going to do well. And then, to see the success that he's had has been absolutely insane. And, he's dominating over there. Another funny story, when I was playing basketball with the Melbourne Tigers, I think it was probably under 15s, I was with them. Yeah. And I actually played with Dyson Heppel.
Heppel?
From the Bombers. So him and a couple of blokes, they'd drive down from like Leongatha, that's where they lived, and they'd come down to MSAC and would be training at MSAC and stuff. And I was like, who's this kid? He had dyed blonde hair. He'd wear Jordan 1s, and dude, he was the fastest guy I'd ever seen on a basketball court. Like, this kid was so fast. Like he'd just dominate. So to even see him now, have the success that he's had with footy, it's insane. I didn't even know he was that good at footy, and then all of a sudden, I was like, who's this? This Dyson. I was like, Dyson sounds familiar, and you know, is absolutely killing it. So, you know, it's crazy. You never know a person's journey or where they've been, and you know who they are and stuff. And you know, it's just awesome to see dudes have success, and you know that success doesn't come overnight. So, you know, super proud of the work those guys have put in, and you know, they're killing it. So.
So how did you go? How did you decide to play gridiron? Like how does that happen?
Yeah. So you know, I was playing footy, basketball, you know, cricket. Your typical Aussie kid, just picking up every sport that you can pick up. And you know, I was kind of getting to the stage where you know I was playing pretty good footy, and I was kind of on the brink of being on those representative teams, and kind of getting into the next level of that, and then. You know, that kind of didn't work out that well. I don't know. They just weren't, I was kind of a bigger guy, and you know, I feel like the game was kind of evolving to more of like a faster, more athletic big guy.
Sport,
Yeah. So it was kind of that, you know, slow development of AFL where, you know, you didn't have the big full forward or the big, you know, centre half forward. You need a guy that can kind of play every position. And, you know, at that time in my life, I was kind of just that big guy, you know. So, that kind of, and then with that kind of pushed me more towards, well, let me check out rugby. You know, I'd play a bit with school, but I was like, you know, they're a bunch of big dudes, and I feel like, you know, I got the same body as them, so let's jump in it. So I was looking around for clubs, and came across a American football gridiron flyer for the Monash Warriors, and you know, went down there, and the rest is history. So
I'm interested to hear how. So you're at the Monash, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever play? You picked up the game of gridiron real late. Am I correct in saying?
Yeah. So I'd never like played it, really heard of it, or like seen it. Probably until I was about 14, 15. You know, I'd probably seen a couple of highlights here and there, but when I was kind of 14, 15, you know, started playing like Madden, stuff like that. Yeah. Started playing that stuff, and you know, I loved it. And I was like, you know what, let's go down, check it out. And I went down there, and I mean, my first year wasn't anything special. It was a lot of learning. You know, we had a great group of guys down there that were super, you know, encouraging and coaching and all that stuff. You know, they really like wanted a sense of community down there, and that was something like I was drawn to. You know, I think having that like community down there, and I think, you know, you've been exposed to a bit of that gridiron community. It's pretty close-knit kind of guys. So, you know, that first year I was kind of like the little kid on the team. There's a bunch of older kids, and you know, they're all doing I'm doing the special teams. I'm basically just, you know, the extra body out there, just getting beat up. Then the following year, I think I probably put on some size, grew a little, and came back, and was a bit of a monster.
My PA, Kieran, my best friend who runs everything for me, she couldn't get over your size. I said, you're 100. Just for everyone, can you tell people this is true? 130 kilos, and you'd be under 12% body fat, correct?
Yeah. So probably about 130, 135 kilo, and about 12. Yeah. So that's about that.
For everyone out there, that's ridiculous. Like, that is just of a beast, but works very hard. You have to work.
It's a lot of hard work. It's, you know, genetics, probably some of it as well. But, you know, it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of nutrition. It's a lot of, you know, commitment. And it's part of being a pro, you know, across all levels. You know, you got to take care of your body. Your body is what makes you your money. So, you know, if you're not taking care of it, then, you know, you're going to find out about it. So, you know, it's been, you know, a hell of a journey, and, you know, currently right now I'm battling some, you know, injuries and stuff like that. But, you know, I'm just looking forward to, you know, what this year holds, and, you know, it's been a great year so far. So, you know, I think it's super exciting. You know, I've got such a unique journey so far, and I know it's not the end of it, but it's just, you know, another hump in the road where I'm at right now.
Now, I want to go back to, all right, so you played at the Monash Warriors, right? And I heard about stories, before I even met you, I heard stories about you, and you were a young kid playing in the seniors, and you were monstering guys who were twice your age. And I remember going to Australian camp, and John Layton, who, you know, Johnny Tossman, who I used to coach as well, you're close friends with him. said, man, you got to meet this guy, Adam Gotsis. He's a monster. And I remember the first time meeting you going, this guy is a weapon. And I remember stories about you, and your alma mater was Georgia Tech. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah.
And at what stage, because I want you to talk about the college system and how, I've been there at Maryland. I want you to talk about just the collegiate system and how it developed you as a human being, but also as a player.
Yeah. So, I think I heard thanks for, John, who has definitely put a lot of good people in touch with one another, and, he's done a lot for the sport. I think his influence on Gridiron Australia has been huge. So
massive.
Big shout out to him. And I think I actually remember the first time I think I met you, it was like one of those camps, and I think you were running like the bench press down there, and they had big G that was down there and put up, 30 odd reps or whatever. And, something like that, killed it. That was, I think, our first time meeting, and, it was awesome to see someone that takes that amount of pride in, that sector of the sport. For you to come down and just even, help out with that at that time where the sport was huge. And I think it kind of took the sport to another level as well. It showed like, hey, there are guys serious about this stuff. We're it's not just picking guys from here. We're going to run tryouts. We're going to see who the best of the best are. We want athletes out here. And I think you kind of turn that stone in like athlete development as well in a lot of those guys, and got them thinking a lot about, if I want to take this sport seriously, I need to take my working out. I need to take my training more seriously.
Can I say one thing? I use you as an example to every player I've met. I said, you need to look at Gotsis and the size of him and the work he puts in. And I kept saying, if you want to make it to the next level and go to college, you understand football in America is massive, and you can make such a good career. Look at you. I mean, your career now, even though you still got a lot of chapters. Go on.
I was going to say, and I think a lot of that is understanding what you're training for, what you need to develop your body for. A lot of guys back home are probably seeing Aussie rules and rugby kind of bodies, and they're good, but they're not football bodies. You need to train, to become a football athlete, a power athlete, an explosive athlete. And, for me, that's kind of, I think what really helped me was, when I was about probably 16, 17, I kind of got more into like Olympic lifting, more explosive lifting. And, I put on a ton of size. My frame really built out. And that really helped me, I think, with the sport, and then helped me with my performance through the sport. So to get back onto that question, once I got to Georgia Tech, I think, the first thing was, it's a complete different culture shock in terms of the way they train, the mindset, the way they attack training. You just don't see that in like junior sports, you just don't see that in Australia at all. Even I'm sure even in the private schools and stuff where they're actually
nothing.
So, that was the biggest thing. I went from just lifting at like a rec center or, a local gym to, you're now in this state-of-the-art facility where everything's programmed out. You go in there, they're finding your 1 rep max, your 3 rep max, your 5 rep max, and they're calculating all your percentages for what you're doing. It's all structured training, and completely different from anything I'd been part of. So, freshman year, it was just getting used to training like that and getting in that mindset of, this is day in, day out, where you're going to be, pushed to your limits. You got to push your body to the limits every time, where, I just think that kind of mindset is kind of lacking in a lot of training back home. And that's also due to the type of sports we play back home. A lot of them involve running. So it's just dudes can go out there and go for a 5K run. And that can, be their training, where for us, like football guys, it's explosive work. When you're going to the field to do work, it's like structured, drilling, like even the running, even the conditioning, it's all, structured. Purpose driven. And it all correlates to, the performance of what you're doing out there on the field, a lot of it. So, in terms of that was just night and day different. And then the development of the people, I think, for us in that college system, you're so blessed to have mentors, you're automatically put in this like situation where you've got guys that are 3-4 years older than you, going into their senior or graduate classes, and they're on the team. So some of those guys are going to the NFL. So if you're a young dude coming into those college systems, you want to attach yourself to those dudes. You want to pick up their work habits. You want to pick up who they are as a person, how they've developed into this person, and hang around those guys, you know. And that was something kind of, I think I was also fortunate with, you know, when I came to Georgia Tech, I was turning 20 as a freshman. I was kind of older than my freshman class. So, you know, automatically I kind of fit in with a couple of those older dudes. And that kind of, you know, helped me not be in that like freshman mind state thinking, you know, I've got all this time, I've got all this, you know, to do whatever I can, you know, put football on the back burner maybe for a second, and I want to party and have fun and do all that. And this kind of kept me like, well, you know, one of my guys, my rookie year, he ended up getting drafted like pick 50. So, you know, to watch him work and see what he was putting in, I was like, dude, if I can, you know, mimic him and do what he's been doing, you know, I'm going to give myself the best chance. Some of those, so some of those things, having those guys in mentor positions, having a lot of coaches with experience that you can just go talk to. And a lot of these coaches are really good people, and, you know, they've been coaching so many years that they're so personal where you can go up to their office and just have a chat with them. You know, they know your situation. They know, you know, potentially I'm 16 hours away from home, you know, 2 flights, and, you know, it's a long way. So, you know, I had a lot of coaches reaching out to me, making sure I was always, you know, there mentally and, you know, checked in, and everything was going good at home and classes were good and everything like that. So a lot of those coaches do take on that mentorship, almost father-like role for a lot of these guys. And, you know, I was blessed to have some good coaches in my situation that, you know, helped me prepare for, you know, what was going to happen with my career.
Okay, I want to know, this is a big thing for me, because when I was there, bro, they explained to me, Coach Wilson, the coach I learned under, he explained to me, in the collegiate system, they're good players. But when you go to NFL, there's like no weak links in the chain. Everyone is like insane. Talk about just like the difference between, I've always want to know, bro, like I've always want to ask you, NFL, what is the difference?
I mean, it's bigger, faster, stronger. You know, it's the next level. You know, you've got, at the college level, it's, you know, you've got guys that are ready to take that next step, and then you've got a lot of guys that are still developing. So, you know, it is just like college is that development phase, you know, and it's part of, I don't think you could go straight from high school to the NFL, you know, it's not like a basketball game.
Has anyone tried that?
I think they used to have it one and done for football as well, or two and done. But, you know, I think with football, you know, your career can be over so quick. Also, so, you know, I think it's super important that these kids are spending, you know, 3 years in college getting educated, you know, working towards a degree, working towards something else, because football doesn't last forever. You know, you can't go playing, you know, you can go play in Canada or overseas, but it's not, you know, it's too much. You've put in too much work to get paid that much. So, you know, it's tough. It's weird. It's a weird business where, you know, you've got this short window, as we were saying, to make your money, and, you know, it's that commitment. But the next level, man, it's guys are faster, guys are bigger, guys are stronger. Guys can commit to training full time, commit to their recovery full time. They're not taking classes. So, you know, these college guys, you know, you're still got a full day of classes, and then you go into training. Then you know, where's your time to recover? Where's your time to do all this? Where's the resources to have people come work on your body, to eat the right foods, to do all that stuff? You don't have financial resources. You know, you're at college. Unless you have money, you can't pay for massages weekly and stuff like that.
Yeah, true.
You know, once you get to the NFL, it's, you know, football's your one thing. You know, you're not worrying about going to, you know, your class at 12 o'clock, you know. So you've got your workout. Then really the only things outside of working out is recovery, you know. So you're going to have people coming to your house, you know. You're going to be going to chiropractor, going to get acupuncture, going to do all these different things. And that's also because you've got the financial resources to be able to take care of your body now. So it's kind of hard, you know. In college, you're basically beating your body up for like 4 years, you know, and then you get to the NFL, and now it's like, all right, now I need to take care of my body. So, you know, and as you know, recovery is huge for performance. And I think that's what keeps the difference, you know, in the NFL, is a lot of dudes have, you know, the opportunities to recover and use that to their advantage. And I think, you know, that's why you see the quality of the NFL. It's never going to slip. You know, guys are just they're at a different level at that point.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you got drafted, right? So I'm just trying to. So you got drafted, and you got drafted to the the Denver Broncos, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been on the Denver Broncos list? How many games have you played? And everyone out there, you've just. Can you explain the whole thing? I don't understand this. They can cut people at any time, and you lost ACL. And what happened after that?
Yeah. So I got drafted by the Broncos, I want to say 2016, April or May.
Number? Just so everyone knows, what number?
63, yeah. So pick 63. So
just so I know, I just want to explain this to people. Adam is the highest drafted ever by an Australian. Just let that sink in. There's no publicity. So if you're watching this and you are a media outlet, I suggest interviewing him, because for me, he won't say it, but I'll tell you, this guy is a great ambassador for Australian athletes, and he deserves more higher media time. So if you want to know more, please inbox me and I'll pass on the correct details, or inbox Adam. And I'll
appreciate that a lot, man.
That's fine. Because Adam, you deserve, man. I'll talk about this afterwards, but let's just talk about what the question I asked you. I'm going to ask you a question afterwards about it. So keep going.
What was the question again? Sorry, I lost. I
just want to know about when you got drafted. I'm interested to hear. You got drafted. Explain the whole system, bro, because it's a weird system.
Yeah. So got drafted, and then basically, you know, after that, you go out there and. You know, the vets are already out there. So all the rookies come in about 2 weeks after the vets come in, after they've signed everyone. And then kind of you jump in a bit of it's OTA, so off-season workout. So you jump in OTAs.
Were you nervous?
A little bit, but I was also excited. You know, it's football. You train your whole life for it. So, you know, it's a whole new city, whole new journey, whole new group of people, whole new team, coaching staff, everything. You know, and it's different because you've kind of built this whole thing for 4 years at Georgia Tech, and now you're going to this whole new team, you know? So it's like, it's a whole different process. But, you know, I got to Denver, and, you know, my first year I was coming off the ACL as well. So I ruptured it in college in my senior season, and still got drafted, you know, in the second round. So I was absolutely, you know, stoked and rapt that I was able to do that. And, you know, it just was, so much work went into that I was so happy that it paid off. But, you know, made it to Denver, and, you know, my first year I was still coming back off that ACL. And I just think that first time rehabbing it through, I just didn't get the full rehab that I should have. And I think kind of I never really got back to where I was. And then I was out there playing and trying to get through that season. So I got through that season, wasn't too happy with how I played and where I was at with my knee and everything like that. So that next off season, I kind of spent a lot of time, you know, rehabbing and just really pushing the rehab. That was, you know, I needed to be healthy. And that's one thing I think in the NFL, you got to be healthy. You know, the level of play is so high that, you know, if you're not healthy or close to healthy out there, it's really going to show, you know, it's going to show out there. Those guys are just at such a good level. So, you know, spent a lot of time rehabbing and getting back to the player that I was. And then, you know, the next couple of years, really enjoyed my time and played really well. Had a great group of guys and team, but, you know, unfortunately we didn't do well that well and make any playoffs. So kind of still chasing that playoff berth. That's something that, you know, is hungry in me. I want to get to the playoffs. I want to play for a championship still, do all that stuff. But yeah, at the end of last year, ended up rupturing my ACL again, the same one.
It was the same one. Okay, same one.
Yeah, so same one. Ended up rupturing it, and it was something that was kind of lingering, I think, for a few years. That, you know, never really got back completely, and you know, it's unfortunate that it happens, but it happens in sport, and it's you know, it's part of it. So
good outlook.
Good outlook. Yeah. So that happened, and, you know, I decided to have surgery at, you know, there's 3-4 weeks left in, you know, so I was like, let's do it. Let's knock it out. And hopefully I can be back for this season. So, you know, right now my contract with Denver ended in February, March. So around that time, you know, you're contracted too. And then, you know, free agency starts. So into free agency. And
just so I understand, did they cut, like, if they, okay, the contract's
No. So I didn't get cut. They just release you. So you just released. Yeah. So you're not cut from the team. And that you just released to free agency. So basically they're just like, opting not to pick up another year on your contract or something. You know? So basically,
did they explain why though? Did you go to them and say,
no? So basically, I just heard through media sources that they're opting not to pick me up, and and then your agent texts you being like, you know, at this point that.
Does the coach get on the blower and call you, Adam, and say, you know, like, you're a part of, I want you a part of my team, or listen, this is the reason why? Nothing like that.
Yeah, I didn't get anything. So, you know, I got no call being like, you know, thanks, or, you know, we just want to go on a different. Yeah, it's just what it is, you know, and even, you know, the season, it's like the season finishes and you've still got to go do your exit interviews with your coaches and stuff like that.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So, you know, I'm going in to my exit interview knowing I'm going into my free agent year as well. So, you know, I have my exit interview and stuff like that. And then, you know, that's kind of the last contact you really have with the coaching staff for that year. And then and then that's kind of it. And then, you know, a lot of it's playing into, you know, where they want to go with their draft and free agents that they want to bring in and all that stuff. But I've taken this opportunity as kind of a blessing. You know, I've been injured, and, you know, with all this COVID stuff, it's kind of worked out for me because it's, you know, in a way, guys haven't been assessed that have been on teams, you know, and that can be good for me and bad for me. You know, it's good because a lot of those guys might not be able to pick it up just in training camp. So all of a sudden you've got this veteran free agent that's ready to play and has played a lot of games and has a lot of experience that you can sign and get in, you know. So that's what I'm staying hopeful for is a lot of teams. I think, you know, once the season starts, you really got to figure out who you've got, you know. So, you know, I'm hoping that a couple of teams are looking for guys, or once they finally get to see where guys are when they come in, you know, they might make some moves. But as of now, it's been just pretty stagnant with the free agency stuff. You know, teams can't really bring guys in, or haven't really been bringing guys in, I think, just due to the COVID and stuff. And everyone's kind of filled their rosters at the moment from the draft. So kind of in training camp when a lot of those cuts happen, or early in the season when, you know, a couple games in the season, teams will reshuffle their roster and see where they can move guys around. And, you know, as we we're kind of saying, it's, you know, you got to think of it as like this huge pie, you know, and everyone's contract is like a certain slice of that pie. And a lot of these guys upstairs, they're just crunching numbers and seeing who they can fit in that pie and make slices of the pie bigger here and there. And, you know, where we can capitalize and save money, and maybe we can bring this guy in and save, you know, 2 years on a contract, or we can trade this guy and pick up a draft pick for another year and, you know, save some cap space and hopefully pay someone else. So, you know, they're like mad scientists up there. They're just punching numbers and, you know, doing all that stuff, looking at so many players that they're you know, evaluating and, you know, assessing. So, you know, it's a tough business. You know, I think there's, you know, probably 1,500 spots for all the players across the league. So it's, you know, you got to be one of 1,500, you know.
It's kind of like taking the opportunity when they give it to you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you don't know how long or how easy that opportunity is. And as we were saying before as well, you might have 2 years left on your contract, or you might have just signed an extension and then they decide to trade you, you know, in that off season. So,
it's
you know, the job, the job security is just, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. So even for me, you know, I'm starting a family here in Denver, but, you know, soon to be, I could be signed to a team in Florida, or I could be signed to a team somewhere else. And it's, you know, it's go time. You got to pack up and go.
Can you get signed to Miami?
Yeah, that'd be a good. That'd be good. I wouldn't mind it down there.
Oh man, I'd love it. Man, I'd love it down there.
Yeah, it's just it's pretty crazy, man. Because, you know, there's a lot of guys that even I know have you know, they come in Denver, they're here for 3 weeks and then they're gone, and then, you know,
3 weeks.
So I think the minimum, if you sign a guy during the season, I think the minimum you have to keep him on your roster is 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, so it's you know, it's dudes battling for positions weekly. You know, there are guys, and during the season, it's in and out. You know, you've got your main dudes, but there are guys that are, you know, every day they might come in and think, shit, this is the day that I might get cut.
Is it like in season you can get cut?
Yeah.
That easily?
Yeah.
Why is that? just how it is.
So, yeah, and in terms of how I think the rosters are formed and stuff. So basically, you've got like I think it's like a 53-man game roster. 47, I think, dress out. So normally there's like, I think 6 or 7 inactive players. So they're still on the active roster. They're just not dressing for the game.
Yeah.
Then you've got like your 10 or I think it's 10 or 11 or 12 like practice squad guys. And those guys are signed to contracts that are like practice squad contracts. So they're not allowed to play unless they sign now an active roster contract.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So in order to activate one of those practice squad guys, you have to cut a dude on the active roster. So once you cut a guy from the active roster, that guy then goes into like, it's like some protocol where like you need to now clear waivers. It's like a waivers. So basically like your contract's out there because the team just released you. And it's like a grace period where like, for I think it's like 24 hours or something, you know, no team can contact you or something. And then like teams can like bid at you. So they can, because you're now a released player of the team.
Wow.
So, you know, teams can now offer you, even though that you were contracted to that team might say, hey, we want to sign you back to our practice squad because we lifted a guy up. We're going to put you in his spot, you know?
Wow.
But you got to have practice squad years. So you've only got 3 practice squad years, I think, in your first like 4 or 5 seasons that you can have. So unless you're one of those guys, if you're a veteran dude, you just get cut. And then once you get cut, you get signed to an active roster again. You can only get signed to an active roster.
How competitive is it in season then for like?
Yeah. I mean, but that's what it is. You got to show up every day. You can't have bad practices. You know, you can't have a couple of bad games in a row, you know, can really, you know, jeopardize your career even. And, you know, even in practices, you might go out there and just be practicing bad for the week. And then all of a sudden you come in and, you know, you're one of these guys that isn't the main dude. So he's not one of the starters, but he might be in a backup role or he might be in one of those special team roles. And, you know, they're just like, well, we can have anyone in here, you know, doing what you're doing, and we can have someone who's going to do it better for cheaper. So, you know, it's just that easy that they can, you know, swap guys in and out. But that's just the name of the game. So, you know, everyone understands that's getting part of this business, that it is cutthroat. You know, I think you have to be in the business or be very close to it to understand it, you know, at the level I'm explaining it, you know, to the general public and that they just see. Yeah, they just think, oh, this guy just got, you know, but they're not seeing it as, you know, this is people's careers as well. You know, it's not like once you get cut, you go into this other like league and you're playing there. You know, once you get cut, you're sitting at home waiting for a phone call. You know, it's a scary feeling. You know, it's a scary, even for me, you know, it's a scary feeling being a free agent, not knowing if I'm going to have a job this year. You know. You know, I'm doing everything I can to put myself in a position to, but that's just how the game goes.
So for everyone out there, you're rehabbing an ACL rupture. You're 5-6 months in. If you don't get picked up, do you know generally what you are going to do, or what? Are you going to stay there, or? Yeah.
So my goal, you know, to stay here, obviously. You know, figure out things with the visa and everything like that currently. So, you know, that's a whole nother, you know, level thing that I have to deal with as well. So, but definitely I think is stay out here, stay training, stay rehabbing, stay focused on what I got to do. And, you know, this is kind of one thing that I've battled with in the past with training and where I'd like to train in my off seasons and stuff. I think, you know, I'd love to come back home and spend a good amount of time training in Australia and doing that, but I think, you know,
you promised me.
Yeah, no, I'd love to come back, you know, and train there, and that's what I want. You know, it's hard to just come in and get a session or two, you know, at a place and really like, you know, you want to come in and you want to put in a solid block of work and development, and even for you, that's where you can coach me the best. You know, it's hard for you to coach me. It's hard for you to coach me when you've only seen me, you know, twice. You know, you're still figuring out how my body's moving, how my body bends, moves, you know, everything. So, you know, for you to develop a proper training plan, you need to understand me, you know, and that's where I think training gets to that next level, is where it's personalized. You know, 100%. You can standardize it to a certain amount, but I think once it becomes, you know, a certain athlete, you need a personalized touches or, you know, rep range scheme, you know, weight scheme, a lot of different factors. So, you know, that's something I want to do, but a big factor in that is, you know, I need to be out here around football and around in that environment, that constant pressure pot, you know, where where in your mind, you know, you're subconsciously battling all these people, you know, there's people coming for your job left, right, center. So you got to, you know, put that work in every day to stay ahead of them. And that's just, you know, I think a mindset that comes with being over here, being in some of these facilities and being, you know, I think the way people attack training over here is just a little different. Different. You know, that's something that I think is on the development in Australia. And I want to be, you know, a big part of that change as well, and showing, you know, how to train and how to purposefully train, you know, and that's something that you take a ton of pride in.
Okay. So
unfortunately isn't around.
I've got a question. So I think when you come back, I think you've got such a unique skill set. I think you could come back, and I've talked to a few people about this. I've done some research. When you come back, do you want to do something like training-wise, gridiron-wise, integration of that? Well, do you have any ideas? With that? It could be a great ambassador.
So no, definitely. I think, you know, being over here, you're exposed to so much different training, and it's huge because, you know, guys aren't just locked away at their facilities; they're at other facilities. So, you know, I'm at all there's performance facilities everywhere. You know, and that's not saying that everywhere is good. You know what I'm saying? That's not saying every coach is good. So there are facilities everywhere, but, you know, I've taken bits of knowledge and pieces from everywhere, and I feel like I've created this idea in my head where I kind of want to have this, you know, almost a similar thing to what you have, like a strength and conditioning program, but really like integrating high-level junior athletes and getting them to understand how training, recovery, all these things play such a big part in where you want to get to, and how your commitment at this young age is huge for that. And then adding in parts of mentorship, adding in, you know, having a place where you have guys that have done it and guys that are educated in it and know what they're talking about in there. You know, you go to some places and you just can't get that level of training or that quality of conversation with a lot of these older dudes. You know, they just don't know what the hell's going on. And, you know, I think having somewhere that, and then adding in all those recovery modalities and modules in there and really educating people on that, you know, educating people on food and, you know, it's bigger than just training, you know. So I want to do training, I want to do nutrition, I want to do all these things. And then I want, you know, I want to have almost like a place where, you know, guys that feel that they're a special athlete, a unique athlete, you know, that has the ability, come in there, train, and you can get under some of this mentorship, and they can steer you in a direction mentally that can, you know, set you up for lifelong success, you know. So
you're talking about more, I think you're looking at real holistic development, correct?
Yeah, definitely. That's something I'm real big on. I think that plays such a big part of sport, and I think, you know, at the junior level in Australia, it's just not there. So for me, it's like coming home, and I just want to, you know, expose those kids to that. You know, I think even at, you know, in the young Aussie rules and rugby developments, you know, there's so many kids with such good talent, but they just don't have that mentorship or that like structure around them with like training to lift that commitment level, you know. And I want a place where the dudes I'm training, they want to be in there every day getting it, you know. I don't want a place where it's like, you know, guys just want to come in and, you know, have a chat and, you know, this is a special place where it's like guys that come in there are going to be special, you know, whether it's in Australia or they're trying to get overseas or whatever it is. That's kind of, you know, the level of people, you know, I want to kind of mentor and deal with is the dudes that are really trying to switch on mentally and elevate themselves to that next level. But, you know, that's a ways away, I think, of, you know, thinking of some stuff. But, you know, as of now, it's just working on, you know, what I'm doing in my career and you know, injury wise, and, you know, still just absorbing pieces of knowledge. I think, you know, in terms of training and everything like that, the sport and the athletes are changing so quick. You almost have to stay with like the human body, how quick it's adapting to everything, you know. You've seen sport change in the last 5-10 years so much. You know, it's just almost staying ahead of that curve, you know, and understanding like, you know, athletes are developing at a younger rate. They're getting, you know, more explosive, smarter, quicker reactions and stuff at such younger ages now. You know, if we can really put the training and the time in with a lot of those people, you're going to see a lot of successful athletes coming out. And I think Australia's like a hub of like potential in there, you know. I think there's so many dudes out there that don't realize their potential either. That, you know, a little bit of commitment, man, at that age can take you a long way. And I think that's something that, you know, I'd love to be part of, is helping guys understand their commitment levels to their sport or to whatever it is that they're passionate about. You know, the mind's a powerful thing, and I think when you put your mind to it and, you know, you attack your training, and, you know, you have people like yourself in those positions where, you know, the blueprint's there. You know what I'm saying? You've got the blueprint. You've figured it out. What works? You know, they just have to come in every day and work at it. You know, they have to trust in who's coaching them, what they're getting coached at, and just go. You know, and at the end of the road, they're going to be where they want to be. You know, I think that's a big thing. Is a lot of people just want this instant change, instant gratification, instant like adaptation and be the best. But you know, it's years and years, and it's a full-time commitment. You know, I mean, myself, when I was younger and stuff, I'd be eating, drinking, you know, I was drinking a gallon of milk a day to put on weight at one point.
Gallon of milk?
Yeah, so 4 liters. I'd drink 2 liters of milk a day.
That's some protein right there. Imagine that.
It was protein, fat, it was everything.
Fat, everything,
I had to put on mass. You know, that was one thing that, you know, I understood. For me to get even recruited and looked at, they're not going to recruit a 260-pound D tackle from Australia. So to me, it was like, no, and that's just realistic. And that's something that, you know, I had people tell me, and, you know, and people around like that were helping me, like in Australia, were telling me, like, and that's something that you look at any college roster, they're not bringing in a 260-pound D tackle. So for me, it was, what do I need to do to get to where I need to be? So it was eating like crazy. It was drinking milk for a month straight, a gallon of milk a day I'd drink. And I put on 25
a gallon of milk.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But I put on 25 pounds, so 10 kilos in like a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And I mean, I was working out every day. So a lot of that stuff, like a lot of that milk, you're probably just flushing out a bunch of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's all not getting processed, but just in terms of upping the calories, upping the amount of protein I'm getting in my body, upping the fats. I was still doing protein shakes, all that stuff, but I was at like 16, 17 years old. And I mean, at that point, to just add 10 kilos of mass was huge. And I think doing that, I really like started feeling it. And I was doing all the Olympic lifting, all that stuff, but I was lifting 5 days, 6 days a week, Olympic stuff, and eating probably, you know, 6,000 calories a day back then.
Yeah.
At like 16, 17 years old. So I was just putting on so much mass and size that, you know, by the time I got to Georgia Tech, I went there on my recruiting trip. I was 300 pounds on my recruiting trip.
Well,
so
300
yeah.
pounds. What's 300
it's probably like 130. So I was probably 130 as a freshman going there on my recruiting
at 18
trip.
years old. At 18?
Yeah. So then all of a sudden, Georgia Tech, instead of having a dude that weighs 110 kilos coming in the door, or 112 kilos, they've got this 6'5", 18-year-old that weighs 130 kilos walking through the door, and they're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
They, you know, so, you know, it was the commitment at that time. You know, did I want to be doing that? Did I want to be eating all that and drinking all that? Did I think it was going to, you know, work out where it was? You know, that was I believed so much that like what I was doing was going to get me to where I was, that like, even if I didn't get offered a scholarship, I was like so committed that I was like, dude, I'm going to just go pay and go to a junior college. I don't care at this point. Like, if I don't get a scholarship, I'm going regardless. You know, I'm going to go do a junior college. I'll go there for a year. I'll do what I have to do because I know I can play.
Yeah.
You know, I've put in too much work to just stop it, not getting an offer. You know, I need to, and whether that was me paying to go to a junior college for a year and I play there for a year and hopefully get an offer, like that was just where I was mentally at that time. You know, I was willing to do whatever it took, you know, because at that time, you know, I'd finished high school. You know, if you enroll in university in Australia, it takes away from your eligibility in college. You know, for me, I was in this like kind of limbo state where I was like, dude, you know, how much longer can I wait? I was almost 20 years old. you know, because I ended up going as a 20-year-old freshman. But I was like, at some point, you know, I got to think about my life. You know, if this isn't going to happen, you know, I got to think about my next move. So whether that's going to university in Australia or going to the junior college or whatever it was, you know, I kind of all these paths planned out. And then, you know, I was almost in such a good position that when this opportunity for Georgia Tech came, I was so ready for it that, you know, everything just fell into place, you know.
That's a mindset though. You had your mind was mentally so strong. It was like, if this is a hurdle, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go over this one. If you get another roadblock, I'm going to go over that one.
It was weird because, I mean, a lot of my friends didn't have that same mindset in high school. You know, this kind of happened my last year of high school and then the following year outside of high school. So, you know, when I was in high school and I'm drinking milk first class of the day and people are looking at me like, this guy's fucking nuts, you know, like he's drinking a 2-liter milk every morning. Like, what the hell's going on? You know, they're not understanding what I'm doing. You know, they're not even in the ballpark of what I'm, you know, trying to accomplish. Yeah. You know, I'm saying to them, I'm trying to go to the NFL or go to college, and they're like, what the hell? Like, they don't even, you know, they're looking at me like, you know, good luck, but that's probably not going to happen. But, you know, for me, that wasn't an option. You know, I chose to commit to it, and, you know, I was so happy that my family, I think, understood that this was my passion. Sport was my passion. You know, that's who I am. So, you know, having mum support me even, and, you know, having dad even leaving me $5 every morning to go buy milk, you know, it sounds so weird. It sounds so weird, but, you know, it's just having the family support behind me as well to chase my dreams and, you know, really push for what I was doing. And, you know, whether it was being on the phone to the NCAA and having my mum next to me, helping me out and doing all this stuff, you know, because I had to get all my grades. I had to get cleared by the NCAA to be eligible to come to college and do all this stuff. And I really had no idea kind of what I was doing. So me and my mum were just working through all this stuff. And, you know, all those hours, all that time, everything that you put in, it all just came to tuition at the end. And I was just so happy that, you know, I got that opportunity to go to Georgia Tech, and I couldn't have landed a better place, man. They were just such good people down there, and I loved it.
So it gives me a good leeway to ask about your family. Okay, so your mother, how close are you with your mother and father, your sister, your brothers? Talk about that.
Yeah. No, I mean, family's everything to me. You know, I grew up in a city, Australia, and, you know, this little Greek community, you know, it's like my grandma lives across the street from me, my aunt lives next door to me. You know, and that was kind of my childhood, was just between those 3 houses. And then between the other Greek people that lived in the street, that was who I hung out with, you know. So outside of that, the only time I was spending with my friends was at sport. You know, I never really was at my friends' houses, like having sleepovers and stuff as a kid. Like, you know, we had a couple of family friends that like would do that with, but a lot of it was just, I was playing sport every night of the week growing up. Like, I was playing 3 different basketball teams. I would play my football team. I'd play my brother's football team. I'd play cricket. Like, I couldn't stop, man. I loved it. I loved any sport I could get with. But my mum was an absolute trooper. You know, she had 5 kids and would take us to all our sport. You know, my dad was at work every day. So, you know, my mum was driving from stadium to stadium across Victoria, just dropping us off, picking us up for hours, every Saturday, every Sunday. And, you know, Sunday footy in Australia, you might be playing in Bundoora, you know, one game, and then my brother's playing, you know, in Fitzroy, or, you know, a whole other suburb. And, you know, my mum would go drop him off, go drop me off, come pick him up, come pick me up. And,
she's the
you know, she was,
dude,
she was, you know, absolutely unreal. But none of us missed our sport. None of us, you know, that was one thing that she prided herself on, was, you know, the commitment to sport. And, you know, if you're committed to a team, like, that's, you're going, you know, that's your commitment. And I think that really rubbed off on me in a really good way. You know, I saw her commitment level to us to make sure we were there. So when I was there, I was always going to do my best, because, you know, we were making ends meet so we could just play sport, you know, to register to play sport. You know, there's 5 kids, you know, it's $150, $200 just to register to play in a basketball team. You know, that's $1,000 just to get us all in a team, let alone gas money, let alone, you know, everything else. So, you know, she was an absolute trooper. But, you know, I've had such a close-knit family. I think having my brother as well, he came down with me to play football the first time I went down there. You know, he was always, you know, he's about 2-3 years older than me, but we're always kicking the footy in the street, playing basketball, doing all this stuff. And I think being exposed to even his older friends and, you know, being a big kid, I was always able to like kind of play with the big kids and bump around and, you know, play footy with them and stuff. So I was always exposed to playing with guys older than me. So that kind of gave me a confidence that, like, you know, if I'm running with these older guys, like I can dominate the guys that I'm playing with. You know? And I think all that ties into that mindset at such a young age that, like, you know, my development just like skyrocketed, you know, because even with the football stuff, like American football stuff, I was 17 playing against 25, 30-year-olds men, you know, grown men. Yeah. And I was out there manhandling them. And I was just like, dude, my confidence was so high, you know, I felt like on the field, no one could touch me, you know, in Australia. So that's when I knew, like, I need to take this somewhere else. You know, I need to go, I need to push this as far as I can because it's something special. And, you know, it's turned into, you know, such an awesome dream. It's been unreal.
Let's talk about, well, I have to talk about this. You're lovely. Your missus. You had a beautiful baby boy together. Am I a boy or a girl?
Yeah, boy.
What's your boy's name?
Ilias.
Ilias.
So, Ilias. Yeah.
Ilias. Your mum and dad must be so happy they're grandparents.
Yeah. No, they're rapt. You know, it's been crazy because they actually haven't been able to come over and see him yet. Just with the travel stuff. Yeah, but you know, it's been awesome. You know, we're on the FaceTime and everything every day with them and texting, sending pictures. But yeah, it's been awesome, man. You know, me and my girl been together probably like 2-3 years now, and you know, we're starting this family, and it's just.
Is she with you now?
No, she's actually not here right now. She's gone somewhere. But yeah, no, it's been awesome, man. It's been you know, for where I'm at in my life, and you know, be able to start a family now, and you know, spending every day with this guy's just been unreal. You know, and that's almost another blessing of some of this COVID stuff is, you know, time that I would have spent at a facility, you know, in meetings all that time. Now I'm at home with the baby now, and I get my hands on him, and yeah, it's awesome. I mean,
was he born in America?
Yeah. So he was born January 6th this year. So so he's you know, about 5 months old, and he's an absolute stud, man. He's going to be a monster.
Is he going to be a weapon like his old man?
I hope so. Nah, I mean, he's on his way. He's I think probably one of the tallest babies that there is right now. He's huge. He's long. It's just this big long thing. But you know, it's awesome to be able to, you know, spend time with this guy, and you know, to be in the position that I am, where you know I can do that, and you know, I'm just super excited for what the future holds for my family and you know, my career and stuff. It's just super awesome.
Before we go, I want to talk quickly about your apparel company. What's the reason you started it, and where can people go to get a t-shirt? I'll be going to get one later today. Can you explain about it?
Yeah. So you know, when the bushfires happened, I decided to kind of make this t-shirt. Basically, it's just a Green and Gold Unite t-shirt. It was you know, based on the bushfires, and to try and just raise awareness and support and funds to help a lot of communities and families out there that were affected. You know, it's so unfortunate what happened, and you know, any little piece can help. So you know, I thought I'd try and help out, and yeah, you can head to greenandgoldunite.org, and I think the t-shirts might still be up there. If not, I know I'm definitely coming out with a new line of t-shirts soon. Kind of, this is more my own personal brand, so it's not necessarily attached to a fundraiser or charity. So this is just Adam Gotsis' brand. There's going to be like hats, t-shirts, a bunch of stuff, but also I'm going to come out with a COVID-19 relief t-shirt as well. So when all that info is posted, I'll shoot it through to you, and we can get it up there. But
I was going to say, when it's all said and done, we'll put it on all our socials. Everyone wants to grab it. How about the bushfires? How about COVID-19? Also, look at Adam's new range. He will give all that information. Adam, anything you want to leave us with? Because it's been a great interview and insight into who you are as an individual. Anything you want to leave our viewers with?
No, I just want to say, you know, it's awesome watching you and, you know, what you're doing back home in Australia. I think, you know, you're really pioneering the way of strength and conditioning and performance within athletes in Australia. And I think, you know, you should be super proud of what you've achieved and what you are achieving. And it's not done yet. You know, I watch a lot of your videos, and, you know, one thing that, you know, I think separates you from so many people, and, you know, this is why I really, you know, do enjoy watching you, is, you know, your passion, your love, you know, and it's for the love for the industry. It's the love for the athletes, you know, and that's what I think, you know, is really missing in Australia, and something that you bring to the table. And anyone that's listening to this and you want to get, you know, some really good training and good mentorship and just an idea of what it's like to train like a pro athlete or a high level amateur athlete, looking for good training, you know, hit you up. You know, you're an open book. You share knowledge, you know, to anyone that's come and asking. And I think, you know, that's what we need to do. I think you're in a great position, and, you know, I appreciate you having me on, and even the show, man. You're educating a lot of people through the people you're having on, the conversations you're having on here. I think is something that, you know, is going to blow up in Australia fairly soon, and, you know, it's awesome, man. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Look, it's been a long journey. I think you understand it better than anyone. Like, when I talk to people, when I talk to people myself, it's it doesn't. I love the saying how you said it's not. Nothing happens overnight. Success is like a roller coaster. You know, it's not, you're going to have more losses than wins, but it's how you respond to the losses that makes you as an individual. And
no, definitely.
I'll get you on the show again in the next probably few months, because look, talking to you is fantastic, because I think you give a real good insight into just your mindset is, I'll be honest, you're very much like me. Your mindset's like, I don't care what anyone says, I'm going to go after it. I'm going to work my ass off. And if there is roadblocks, I'm going to work them out. You don't give up. And I think everyone watching, Adam's got a great story. I'll be honest, I think his story is, in my opinion, one of the best. Like for me, like similar to all my stories that I get from my pro guys, everyone's got a story. Adam's is unique because you're an Australian in an American system, and there's Australians unless they're punters, and you're not a punter. You know, you're a lineman, and it's rare. How many other Australian linemen are there in the NFL?
I think there's two. One guy got picked up undrafted free agent this year, I think. He's a D end. I think he was out of Iowa State. I think his name's Matt Leo. But I think he's kind of on that international pathways program, so I'm not really sure how that all works. But other than, I think Jordan Malia might be the only other guy that is on a team right now, but I don't even think he's seen playing time. But, you know, he's still so young in the game that he's got so much development and upside that, you know, he's going to be out there dominating, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's the mindset's everything, I think. And that's, you know, something that, you know, it compares to life. What we do, you know, every day, how you attack every day is how you attack your life, you know. You're going to sit there and just settle and be second to none, or are you just going to go take what you know? And that's something. Oh, yeah, it's everything's out there in front of everyone. Everyone's got that same, you know, visions and goals in front of them. But you got to go get it. You got to go want it. You got to go attack it. You know, and that's just life. You know, if you want to get somewhere in life, sitting there is not going to do it. You know, you got to figure out the plan and then go. And as you said, it's never straight. It's never, you know, the perfect road, you know, to get to A to B. It's never that. It's you're going to hit walls. You're going to have to go left. You're going to have to go backwards sometimes to go back forward, you know, and that's just the journey. And you have to embrace that. You have to accept that, you know, you're going to have to accept that, like, not everyone's going to like what you do. Not everyone's going to, you know, be your friend through it. But, you know, you're doing this for you at the end of the day. You know, you're doing this for you and for what you believe in. And that's all you can do. And you can take that pride and passion and do what you want with it, you know? And, you know,
Nodding here. Kieran's just looking at me because we've been through, she's been through right with me, and she's just nodding what you're saying, because we're very much, I said to her, we're very much in our thinking. So, I mean, your thought process is just elite. That's just another level. That's
awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on, Christian, man. It's been awesome, brother.
I've got one thing to say. I'm coming to America, and this time I'm coming to watch you play. So
easy, got it.
I've told Kieran, wherever you are in America, we'll go. And this time, make sure you hook me up, because I can't wait to see.
I will, bro. I got you, man. No, I love it, man. Thanks for having me again.
AskWoodford, and I'll talk very, very soon, yeah.
Love you, brother.
Thanks. Love you, brother. See you, mate. Bye.